the sad news of the purported deportation of international students in the United States of America, a policy introduced by Donald Trump, has met with a lot of criticism. The president has said that if the courses of these students are entirely moved online, as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, there will be no need for them to stay in the country and that they will be deported. This news has been circulating the world now of Donald Trump's intention to deport foreign students in the United States of America. And a lot of people said this lacks compassion. As you all know, that a majority of foreign students bring money into many countries, and these countries use this money these foreign students bring in to do a lot in their country. So Donald Trump is a man that comes up with policies without actually looking at it. Well, I'm going to read the statement, a tweet by Senator Susan Collins. She tweeted, she said, a new visa rule will jeopardize the education of nearly 1 million international students and harm hundreds of colleges and universities, including in Maine. This policy must be rescinded to allow students to retain their visas if they attend classes online due to COVID-19. This is not a joke. A lot of people have invested so much into education. Some go to the United Kingdom, some go to America, Canada, Australia, and many other countries. And all of a sudden, the country comes up with a policy without considering, after they've kind of collected money off from the people, from this foreign student, they come up with a policy that will not favor them. Now, this is by Susan Collins, and she wrote, the Honorable Chad F. Wolf, Acting Secretary, United States Department of Homeland Security, and this is dated July 8, 2020. The Acting Secretary Wolf, I am writing to express my concern that the guidance issued earlier this week by the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, SEVP, regarding online courses requirement for international students is punitive and will have grave long-term consequences for the United States colleges and universities at which these students are enrolled. For this reason, I ask that the department immediately rescind this guidance and replace it by extending the exemption adopted on March 13 by United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, through the end of the upcoming school year. The ICE exemption allowed international students with F1 visas to attend classes online while retaining their visa status. That exemption worked and ought to be extended. Its termination on short notice is especially troubling, given that SEVP new guidance requires colleges and universities to certify by July 15, just 1 week from now, whether or not 4 semester courses will be offered online only, in person only, or using a hybrid model. This arbitrary deadline seems intended to force a hasty decision to fully reopen for in-person instruction. Under new guidance, foreign students will not be granted visas to enroll this fall in colleges and universities offering courses only online. Consequently, international students currently enrolled in these institutions must transfer to another institution, leave the country, or face deportation. It is unrealistic and unfair to expect the student to comply with this new guidance in the few weeks remaining before the start of the fall semester. Furthermore, even if the students somehow manage to quickly transfer to other colleges and universities offering in-person courses, they can be forced to withdraw and leave the country if this institution later shift to an online model. It is hard for me to imagine a good reason for this arbitrary requirement. While I can understand the imposition of a reasonable restriction on travel from foreign countries in the midst of a pandemic, the guidance makes no sense with respect to students who are already in the United States. Allowing these students to take courses online, if that opinion is available to them, will tend to slow the spread of COVID-19, whereas the SEVP new guidance could have the opposite effect. Further, students on F1 visas who are presently outside the United States and unable to return due to travel restrictions are fairly penalized by the new guidance. SEVP new guidance not only puts the education of 1 million foreign students at risk, but also the reputation of hundreds of institutions of higher education around our country, including many in Maine, such as Bowdoin, Bates, and Colby colleges, as well as the University of Maine system. These institutions are American champions in the worldwide competition to draw the best and brightest to our shores. I fear that the arbitrary and capricious SEVP guidance will cause real deep and long-lasting harm to this institution and to our nation's interests. It must be rescinded. I thank you for your attention to this urgent request. Well, hopefully they look into this. A lot of reactions trail this, of course. Definitely, people are not comfortable with Donald Trump's policies. He comes up with some policies here and there, and these policies are targeted against, foreigners, targeted against even Americans themselves, particularly the minorities there. Now, this statement from Donald Trump received a lot of backlash from many universities and educational groups who didn't agree with this policy, and even the church did not take this lightly. Of course, a lot of people protested, but the protest might not necessarily make any mark on Donald Trump, as he is a man that is, he wants such. To him, he feels that he doesn't need the votes of these students, so he can go all the way to kick them out in the hope that doing this will boost kick up something in the minds of many Caucasians that are there who may not, I'm not saying all of them, who may not necessarily like foreigners or want other people that are not Americans. Well, they just do not know what to do. They just have to live with the minorities there. So about 12 leaders of Christian organizations have opposed Trump's policy of foreign student deportation, calling it a policy that falls short of American ideals, not human. The leaders had also written to the acting secretary of Homeland Security. I read that, Chad Wolf. In the letter, they expressed their displeasure at the president's plan, calling it a policy that robs our country of the significant contribution international students add to their colleges in various ways. They also argued that the policy lacks compassion and violates tenets of faith. The tuition fee that these foreign students pay contributes to a great deal to the finance of the schools, and that's why they are at loggerheads with Trump for his plan to deport the students. Donald Trump comes up with just whatever it is to him. The foreign students pay a lot of money that runs into billions of dollars, and all of a sudden someone comes with a policy and he has not even checked to see if he is going to fund these schools. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Harvard University have sued to have the policy blocked. Some of the signatories of the letter sent to the acting Secretary of Homeland Security were counsel from Christian colleges and university President Shirley Oakstra, National Association of Evangelical President Walter Kim and Russell Moore, President Walter Kim and Russell Moore, President of Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of Southern Baptist Commission. And this is, of course, going to affect Nigerians, as it is said that we have about 30 to 40,000 students that are studying in America, and they will be deported down to Nigeria if their school decides to go online. So I'm wondering how this is possible. Recently, something happened around Donald Trump, and he was worried, and he talked about the security around him not protecting him enough. And I'm not talking about someone bringing weapons. I'm talking of coronavirus. Someone got the virus, and that person is said to be working around Donald Trump and his wife, and he was afraid for his life. He felt that he doesn't want to put on the face mask. Of course, definitely, since he's not going to come in contact, he's not going to shake hands. And if he does shake hands, the people that he shakes hands with must have been tested before they are allowed. So for him, he's safe, is okay. But how then can we secure the lives of students, since we all know that the United States of America is badly hit as a result of this coronavirus? How do you secure the lives of the people if everyone moves to the classroom and they sit down? Some might say they should practice social distance. How can that be possible if you have a classroom of the theater or the hall where a lot of people sit down? And somehow there is no way this coronavirus is not going to spread in the United States of America if students are allowed to move freely amongst themselves without precaution. Some of the precaution is for them to take their courses online. That's it. So I don't know why Donald Trump has decided to come up with this. So if you are a foreign student there, what's happening to you? How are you taking this? I don't know if other countries are going to follow suit. As when America comes up with a policy, United Kingdom and some other countries that are, they are stooges and as equally as very terrible as United States of America, depending on the government. I'm not saying generally United States of America, depends on the government at that time. They might decide to come up with the same thing. Do you think this will affect you if you're in the United Kingdom? Generally, if you're in Europe, if you're in America, Australia, Canada, there is a new policy that Donald Trump decides to come up with, saying if you are going to take your courses online, you cannot stay no more in the United States of America. This I see as terrible, and it's punitive.